Midland on the drive, Emig. Emig back outside and coming over to get the ball is Gawley. Gawley dribbles out near half court, down to 14 on the shot clock. With his left hand, now his right hand. He has 10 seconds left to shoot as he runs all the way over to the right side of the floor. Ball in the hand of Emig, dishes off, reverse layup, will not go. Offensive rebound, put back. Wouldn't have mattered anyway as there was a foul. They're going to say the foul was on the floor, but it's still going to be at least a 1-and-1, as that's the 8th team foul against York.
That's wrong. They're going to call it a shooting foul. The foul was on 11.
Okay.
And they're going to give him a 2-shot foul, so they're going to say he was in the act of shooting.
Well, they threw 1-1 in the air with each hand normally. That means 1-and-1. All right, a 2-shot foul, and that is big because he missed the first one. But because he was in the act of shooting, he will get a second opportunity here. But Vaughn can do no more than give his team a 3-point lead, which is still a 1-possession game. And we know York can hit the 3. Second free throw, got it. He's got 9 points, 61, 58, 2:04. Layup, good. Johnson in double figures with 11. It is 61-60. Under 2 minutes left to go.
York with some life now. Delton Deal, as we always told you, very emotional, very much into it, really back into it now.
Emig picks up his dribble at the free throw line. Wanted to pass it inside, was not able to. They end up having to work it around the perimeter. Gawley on the drive. Cut off along the baseline by a double team. Ball swung all the way over to the left side. Emig on the drive. Shoot, scores. 21 for Emig. 63-60. 1:28 left to go. York in the front court. With the right hand dribbling, this is Brewer. Brewer left side, Johnson. Johnson drives baseline, shoots, strong, no good. Rebound to Midland. Warriors have the ball and a 3-point lead. On the break, ball lost. But nobody there except Warriors to pick it up, so they're able to dodge the bullet, and they'll run a little bit of clock here.
But New York is not in a position they have to foul. They are going to try to trap here, but they don't have to foul, and they may get a steal out of it.
Just about do. They knock it into the backcourt, but Midland able to recover. 12 seconds to shoot, and Eisner takes a timeout. Coach Todd Eisner wants a timeout to talk about it. His team up by 3, 63-60, 53.7 seconds left to go in this second round game from the NAIA Men's Division II National Championships in Point Lookout. Again, 11 seconds left to go on the shot clock, 53 on the game clock.
Yeah, and there's several situations to look at here. First, obviously, Midland is just thinking about getting any type of shot or even just getting to the free throw line. It is still 1 in the bonus if York fouls them not in the act of shooting. So we'll have to be careful about that. But all York wants to do is get a stop without giving a point and have a 1-possession game. Now, that does not mean you automatically have to fire a 3 at the other end. You still have plenty of time to go. Even if the shot clock winds down, you still have plenty of time to go. But with York, their type of offense is their best available shot sometimes is the 3.
Yes.
So I think a lot of times, and I think maybe sometimes we put more into that, what type of shot you go for. If your best shot's a 3 and you got it, you take it. If it isn't, if your best shot of that situation 2, you take it. You're not in a situation yet, if you're York, that you have to do that. Now, Delton Deal's doing something very interesting here, as Marcus Johnson will be out of the lineup. He does not want him here on defense because he's got 4 fouls. If they do put Midland on the line, you can bet Marcus Johnson will be back in the ballgame. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if they stop him if Delton Deal calls a timeout to get him back in the ballgame.
Inbound pass over on the side, goes way back into the backcourt to Gawley. Down to 7 seconds left to shoot. Almost lost the ball, but he was able to get it into the hands of Vaughn. Vaughn to Parrott on the drive. Shoots. No good, but a whistle and a foul sends him to the line. Real strong with the shot. Was hardly contested. There was not a lot of contact, but I think it's more of where the contact took place. As I say, he raked across the arm. And it'll cause a 2-shot foul here, and now both teams are in the double bonus.
And now both Brewer and Johnson coming back into the lineup. Parrott misfires on the first one, so at best it'll be a 4-point game. But still, if you're York, you're not in a position where you have to go for 3 at the other end, regardless if Parrott makes this one or not. Parrott on the season is only a 50% free throw shooter, so he's not been the best from the line this year.
Parrott with 19 in the game.
In fact, Midland only shoots about 59% from the free throw line.
And a bounce and a shot goes in there. So Parrott gets his 20th point of the game, 64-60. Quick shot on the other end is a 2. Just inside the arc there for Brewer. He's got 6 at 64-62. And what was big about that is they did it so quickly that they left 39 on the game clock, still 35 on the shot clock, still a 4-second difference.
Well, Delton Deal was looking for a little clarification. He thought that was a 3. He wanted to get a shot at it, but the official said no, his foot was definitely on the line. So Brewer had just got stepped. But as I said, it really doesn't make any difference because they needed to stop. And now I don't obviously think you probably can let it run all the way down, but what you can do if you're York, if you don't have to immediately foul. You don't have to immediately just try, and again, you don't have to. We've had this discussion on many of our presentations. Coaches look at this differently. They look at it and see what is the proper way to do it. Do you foul immediately and add possessions to the game? Do you rely on your defense and try to get a stop? Even with just 39 seconds, I think you've got a little time to play with here if you're York to try to get a steal. To try to get something without committing the foul and getting a quick shot at the other end. I mean, you've got some opportunities there to make that happen if you want.
The one thing we need to clearly make a point that we make clear is the officials have no doubt that it was a 2 because if they wanted to, they could go over and look at the replay. It is a reviewable.
Well, there was an official standing right there, exactly. So we had a great look at it.
From my view, I thought it was a 2 as well. So Midland into the front court. Long, dangerous pass, but they're able to get it. And now the foul will be committed as Varmall will put Parrott on the line.
Now, here's one of the things that makes it very interesting for Midland is Parrott is not a very good free throw shooter, but he's your best player.
Yep.
So although you love for him to have the ball, it's not necessarily you want him to have the ball all the time in this situation. It was 1 and 2 a moment ago. Both teams are in the double bonus, so it's 2 free throws from this point on.
And sometimes as he shoots an air ball, and an air ball that wasn't even close, folks, this shot didn't even hit the net. And what I was going to point out, maybe it's not going to take place in his case, sometimes even when you don't shoot a very good percentage for the whole game, in clutch situations you're able to hit. But he misses the first one there. So the most he can do is make it a 3-point game.
And now let's see, because a lot of times what happens when you miss the first short, you overshoot the second one. But that one was so short, if he put anything on that one, he might get it to drop.
I'm sorry to say that usually they're not quite that short. This one is too strong, no good. Rebound is tough, but it was actually pulled down by York. So does York go for the tie or the win? We'll find out. 24 seconds left to go. Varmall attacks, pulls up, shoots, no good. Tap, good! The tap went in for Jackson. We are tied, 64-64, 18 seconds left to go in regulation.
Midland going to go for the win here as Todd Eisner is going to take a timeout. We are tied at 64, 11.8 to go. That's going to be a full timeout for Midland. The ball will be inbounded right here in front of our position. And are we heading for our 3rd overtime in a row on the first day of the day session where Parrott Phelps is calling the play? We'll find out in 11.8 seconds. I guess I signed it to you, so I guess it's kind of my fault too. The phrase student athlete has a great ring to it. Join 60,000 others who feel the same way. You'll never run out of room to grow on the court, in the classroom, and as a person. There are lasting friendships waiting to be made with students, coaches, and the entire campus community. Learn more at NAIA.org. Okay, the situation is this. We have 11.8 to go. York and Midland all knotted up at 64. York has made a nice comeback. And again, Parrott at the free throw line, not a good shooter, and he's made only 1 of 3 down the stretch, 1 of 4 down the stretch. And that has put York in a position here. Obviously, if you're York, you don't want to foul, but at the same time, Midland's going to have to inbound. And again, they're going to inbound right in front of us.
And again, Midland.
At midcourt, by the way, we should say.
If you're Midland, do you put the ball in the hands of Parrott, which is your most creative and most athletic player?
I think in this case you do, because the free throws aren't a factor anymore. They're not going to try to foul him now because they're tied.
That's true. But if he gets behind him and going for a layup, then most likely, if it's unpreventable, that's what they will have to do. Inbound over on the side. Ball is completed into the backcourt with 9 seconds left to go. Across the timeline, it's 6.5. Down to 4. 3 coming off a pick. Jumper from the baseline. Air ball, no good. York claims the rebound. And we are going to an overtime for the 3rd consecutive day with the opening game. 64. York and Midland with a berth in the quarterfinals of the national championships on the line.
You are a dog. 64-64 is the game as we go to overtime for the 3rd day in a row in the 8:30 game. But you know what? The way these two teams play, I don't think we're going to mind seeing an extra period here because this has just been a really back and forth ball game as both teams have been just trying to win their way in. And again, as I pointed out earlier, and I think one of the big factors to remember is because of the way this championship has gone, both of these teams see an opportunity they didn't necessarily see coming in. I mean, because they weren't seeded, but now all of a sudden they see an opportunity to really start a run here, but they got to win this game to get it.
Foul situation, back in play now. Remember, two of the starters for York with 4 personal fouls apiece.
64-64.
And for the 2nd time in the game, we will have what is really a jump ball as the teams will meet at midcourt. As we look it over, both teams with their starters back on the floor. Strickland, Brewer, Johnson, Jackson, Varmall for York. For Midland, Emick, Parrott, Gawley, Vaughn, and Williams.
And as Perry mentioned, not only with the team fouls here, but several players with 3-4 fouls that will be a part or maybe not a part of this overtime, depending on how they can play this.
And check that, Huser for Williams over on the Midland sideline, and Midland actually is able to win the tip, so they'll get the first possession here of this overtime. Parrott with it, in between the circles. Spin move at the free throw line, now picks up his dribble, has to go back outside. Ball eventually swung over to Gawley over on the left wing. Comes off a pick, goes over to the right wing, looks to bounce it in. Baseline drive is going to be good, and a foul. Parrott with an athletic, acrobatic shot to get it to go.
Basket is good. Number 10, James Parrott. He'll go line for the bonus shot. Foul spot.
66-64. Midland with the lead and the basketball.
Now Parrott again at the line, and again he has struggled in the overtime period at the line, or in the end of the game, only making 1 of 4 free throws down the stretch.
But he hits a big one here to give his team a 3-point lead. He's got 23, 67-64. 4:30 left to go in overtime. In between the circles, ball worked all the way over to Varmall, over on the right wing. Spin move, double team, shoots, misses. Parrott with the rebound. Now Midland up 3 with the basketball, 4:15 left to play in overtime. Goalie signals out the play that he wants his teammates to run. Started left, now goes back to the right. Stays over there on the far right wing. Now comes over to the left side. Cross-court pass. Ball eventually made it into Emick's hands. Bounce pass to the free throw line to Vaughn. Vaughn with the left hand, no good. Got his own rebound, lost it now, and York comes away with a steal. Running the floor is Brewer. Brewer tries to throw it to Varmall, and he's able to run it down and tiptoe along the sideline.
Boy, the Midland fans want traveling, but he actually didn't. He actually had the foot in the air, but started dribbling while it was in the air. A good athletic move just to save it there.
Johnson just about lost it, but kept control. To Varmall. Varmall into the lane. Shoots. Right-hand scoop shot, no good. Putback was good, but they're going to wave it off because Varmall was fouled.
And so to the free throw line goes Thaddeus Varmall, 25 points in the ball game. 3:23 to go, 67-64. So now Varmall has a chance to get York back to within 1. Very tight ball game, but credit York first off is that not a lot of things went their way in the second half, but they were able to get the game tied again. Varmall nails the first free throw. I mentioned coming in, 82% free throw shooter coming into the championship. Did miss one earlier, but was very, very solid on that one. Now, again, you notice not a lot of substitution as it was at the end of regulation. Right now, you're in overtime. You just got to hope, if you're York, that Marcus Johnson or anybody in foul trouble for either team has got to be smart not to commit a silly foul.
Yeah, for Midland, not a whole lot of foul trouble in the game right now. Second free throw rattles around the rim and pops out. So a miss there leaves Midland up by 2. Warriors bring the ball into the front court. This time it's Imig bringing the ball up. Gives it to Parrott over on the left wing. He was double-teamed for a moment. Now they go back to man-to-man defense as they switch with Varmall on him. On the drive, pump fake, shot, good. Count it for Vaughn. Vaughn in double figures now with 11. It is 69-65. Under 3 to play. Three-pointer. Long, no good. Offensive rebound keeps it with York, and they get a chance to completely reset. As they go left side on the drive, Johnson. Baseline, pull up, short, put back, good.
Tell you what, Hevis Jackson has been very big in the second half and overtime for York. He gets a great putback there after Johnson misfired on the shot and gets the Panthers back to within 2.
69-67, 2.5 minutes left to play in overtime. Ball in the hands of Imig, drives, dishes off to Parrott. Parrott trying to take his man one-on-one, beats him, gets picked up, shot, rolls around and drops in. Parrott up to 25 himself on the game, 71-67. Still a 4-point game, 2:08 left to play. Driving is Brewer. Brewer lost his balance, falls to the ground, traveling. 4-point lead and the ball now for Midland. And the bench from York does not like it. They think he was helped on his way down to the floor.
I know, didn't see a lot of contact
I did
there.
not either.
No doubt he slipped. Now, whether he was grabbed as he was going down is a different story, but there's no doubt the initial contact was that he was just slipping on the floor.
4-point game. 2 minutes left to play. Midland with that 4-point advantage, and they have the basketball right now. They don't want to stall, but they would not mind running some time. Imig dribbling it out over on the left side, or right side to the left. Parrott attacks, and he travels with the basketball as he got into the lane. Panthers defense gets a stop that they needed.
Boy, absolutely needed that time as they ended up looking at trying to get Parrott something set up inside, and York was able to get some help defense on him that time before Parrott was able to find an outlet and get out of trouble.
Vaughn back into the lineup now for Asiande as they get another shooter on the floor, does York here. We'll see if they're not going to try something from the outside instead of working the ball in. They're going to attack. Shot is going to be no good, but a foul. As the middle of the lane opened up, Johnson saw it and immediately attacked.
Yeah, and that's about the only situation Johnson really would be going to the basket. Again, with 4 fouls, he's got to be very careful. You know, obviously in an overtime period with your season on the line, eventually you got to take a chance, but this particular time, he ends up going to the basket and getting a chance to get a couple of free throws.
First one good. He's got 12. It is 71-68. 1 free throw still to go. He gets it. 71-69, 2-point basketball game with 1:35 left to play. Goalie walks it up the court here for Midland. Comes across the timeline, dribbling with the left hand, now the right. Down to 1:27 to play, 23 on the shot clock. Imig with it. He's one of the creators into the lane. Shoot, nice shot with the left hand. It drops down. 23 points for Imig, 73-69. That advantage again, a 2-possession game at 4. Varmall turns, shoots, can't get the roll. A foul though for pushing underneath the basket against Midland, and they will get Vaughn for the call here, and a 2-shot foul coming up will send Jackson to the line.
So Jackson goes to the line, and really with the exception of Varmall and Brewer, who are excellent free throw shooters, most of the rest of the team around 68, 70, 71% for the year. Jackson, though, does nail that one. And again, you mentioned it earlier, sometimes, Perry, pressure situations brings out the best in free throw shooters. Certainly did with Jackson there.
Free throw was good. Second one good as well.
Timeout, York College. This will be a full timeout.
73-71. Midland in front. With 1:05 left to go in overtime, and it will be Warrior basketball as we come out.
In the NAIA, character, they believe, should not be confined to the campus. It's a grassroots process, and a result, that speaks with authenticity and authority. You can get your community involved in Champions of Character. Learn more at championsofcharacter.org. Our score is 73-71. Midland leads York here in overtime of the opening game of the second round of the NAIA Division II Men's National Basketball Championship. We've had 3 overtime games, and they've all been the first game of the day, which is not, in a tournament director's mind, the best thing that can happen. But at the same time, all 3 of these overtimes, and York was involved in the one in opening day. That's when they beat Davenport in overtime. It was Indiana Wesleyan and Lords that went to overtime yesterday, with Indiana Wesleyan prevailing by 2. And we're kind of heading to that type of finish here in the first overtime. Again, Midland with the ball and a 2-point lead. And as there are 65 seconds on the clock, here's a huge possession for the Midland Warriors.
And here comes Midland with it. Token full court pressure here by the Panthers. Warriors have no trouble breaking it as we go down to 55 seconds left to play in the game. 25 on the shot clock. York playing straight up but playing tight defense. They go for a trap, but Midland quickly was able to bounce the ball out of it. Down to 12 seconds left to shoot now. They got it to the free throw line. Give it now to Parrott. He wants 3. No good. Offensive rebound. It is a huge one as the shot clock and the game clock are almost identical. Midland with an absolutely huge offensive rebound, and right now York still playing defense. Goalie dribbles around. Bounce pass over on the far side, and they're going to have to commit a foul. And this time it's Emig that will go to the line.
Well, you notice what Midland there is they ended up keeping the ball out of Parrott's hands once they got the offensive rebound. That's what York wanted to do. And Marcus Johnson's just fouled out of the ball game as he's the one that commits the foul. So now Emig to the line, shooting 2. But I was just about to say, if you're York, if they get a miss, you have to block out.
Yep.
But nobody, absolutely nobody, put a body on Huser, and that rebound that they collected may move Midland on to the next round.
Well, York got exactly what they needed with a miss there, and there would have been plenty of time. And now they need to see what happens here at the free throw line. An absolutely perfect free throw with that first one. 24 points now for Emig. His team up by 3, 74-71. 1 still to come. Three bounces. Lets it fly. And he missed it. But another offensive rebound. Another offensive rebound for Midland. And now more time coming off the clock. Parrott all alone on one side. Ball knocked into the backcourt. And now a foul at midcourt with 3 seconds left to go. And offensive rebounds are absolutely the story right now for Midland.
And for York, lack of rebounding in the home stretch here, as in 2 occasions they got what they needed but did not get the rebound. So now the foul is going to be called, and now going to the free throw line will be Gully. Gully is a 68% free throw shooter. First one is no. Oh, it is.
Oh, what a roll he got, and how huge was that one to drop. 11 for Gully. And not probably a bigger one in his career than that one, but he does hit the second one as well. But there was a lot less pressure on that second free throw after he hit the first one.
Boy, that first one I thought was going to roll out for sure. So Midland, who picked up their first NAIA Division II Men's National Championship victory just 2 days ago, now looking for their second victory and a trip to the quarterfinals of the tournament. But Still 8.8 seconds. Even though the lead is 5, it is a very big situation here for Midland. And again, Todd Eisner taking the timeout, I believe, Perry, to make sure his team knows what they should and, more importantly, what they shouldn't do here.
Yeah, stacked really definitely against the Panthers right now, down by 5 with 8.8 left to go. Midland out of the G-Pack looking to advance to the quarterfinals of this tournament. York in search of a miracle here. (76-71). 8.8 left to go in overtime. Teams are all set up, but there's some perspiration on the floor. They're going to come out and clean it up real quick.
They're getting some help from the Dordt fans that are sitting behind us there, making sure they get it all picked up. Of course, Dordt also is of the same conference as the Midland Warriors, so they want to make sure that everything's safe for everyone.
And there are Dordt fans everywhere. You talk about a group that has traveled well. They are packed in this gym right now. Into the front court. York, they have to fire something quickly. There's a long three. It's an air ball, no good. 0.4 left to go, and that is going to do it. Midland will survive, and they will make it to the quarterfinals as they come away with the victory. 76-71 in overtime. And what a way to start things out here on the third day. We knew they were evenly matched, or at least we thought they were, and by golly, that was the case. An absolutely incredible basketball game, Scott McCauley.
It certainly was. As you look at how this game transpired, you just looked at the big players for Midland.